Hey everybody, thank you for checking out this week's debuted episode of the Shawn Will Be Here podcast with your special guest, Freedia Nipps. Now, fair warning, this video is me figuring out how to make a podcast, right? So there will be some audio delay in some places, some lip syncing being off. There will be some obvious, audio quality issues, some video quality issues. That's me being new at this, right? We all have to start somewhere, right? So if you are an audiophile snob or a videophile snob, and you absolutely can't handle anything that's not perfect production, HD quality, anything, maybe this isn't for you. I am going to work out the kinks over the next few episodes, hopefully, to make the podcast a more watchable experience. This has been a difficult thing to edit. I've learned a lot in this process. For example, my wide shot and my self camera, they cut out at some point during this podcast, and you'll hear me talk about it. I was fighting a cold this week, and that cold got worse after we finished recording. So, here I am. And I've broken a tooth since then. It's just been a really rough week for me. So I really appreciate you checking this out and giving it a chance, even if it's not really all there yet. You're watching me put the pieces together slowly but surely. And if you would like to help me refine this experience and make it a better experience, I don't have a Patreon or anything like that yet, so I'm not asking for money. All I'm asking is that if you want to see this podcast do well, get better, and get a higher production quality over time, the best way to support me right now is by sharing this podcast on your social media platforms, your Facebook, your Twitters, your Instagrams, your Blue Skies, your Threads, share it on Reddit. I don't care. Just share it around, because the more people I have watching this product, this show, the more people I know are interested in my brand name, the more people that I can maybe get to try and sponsor me, to get some better equipment, to get some better microphones, to just get a better setup, and hopefully better guests as well, right? Your viewership gives me legitimacy, and I thank you for that. Thank you for being part of this, and as long as you're okay with maybe a rough first episode, hey, here we go. Play that beautiful theme song by Brandon G.
Walk away, yeah, before you get hurt too bad. Look away, yeah, watching her's far too sad. And time doesn't heal nobody. The hourglass can't set you free. Love shouldn't hurt nobody, but somebody's hurt like me. Stay away, yeah. Don't you get close to me. Fade away, yeah. Living in a memory, and I wouldn't hurt nobody. Baby, won't you listen to me? Love is for somebody. Time is gonna lead her to me. I won't confuse her now. I won't try no more. Not to amuse your soul. No goodbye no more.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Shawn Will Be Here podcast. I am Shawn Will, and today I will be here with...
Freedia Nipps. Hi everybody.
Yes, you are a very talented, very phenomenal and fabulous drag queen. I have seen your work on socials a lot.
Thank you.
You know, you're always in my feed. Your performances are athletic as hell. I don't know how you do it with the stamina.
I don't either.
For one. For two, your costuming is on point.
Thank you.
You absolutely have your aesthetic nailed and everything. And, you know, we've known each other for a while, but we haven't gotten to spoke for a while. So I've been very happy to have Miss Freedia Nipps here on the show today. All right, so let's get started. How would you like to introduce yourself? Is there anything you'd like to plug at the start here?
Hi everybody, my name is Freedia Nipps, also known as CJ Thomas. I've been doing drag for about 2 years now, almost 2 years. In drag, it would be she, her pronouns. Outside of drag, it's they, them. That's about it.
That's about it. All right. Sounds good. So let's start off with the first question I have here. Your drag name, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is the bedrock of any drag persona, right? It is the thing you market yourself on. And there are so many drag names out there with puns in them, of course,
Mm-hmm.
right? Trixie Mattel, she likes the Barbie aesthetics of Mattel. Little subtle puns and things like that. But Freedia Nipps, I've got to say, is, as a comedian, I wish I wrote that. Right?
Yeah, thank you.
And I bet it always gets a woo in any bar you're in. Anytime somebody goes, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Miss Freedia Nipps. Because everyone's like, they're doing the what?
Mm-hmm.
Gets head spinning, eyes turning. So, how did you come up with your drag name?
So honestly, me and my friends, like years before I even decided to debut, were kind of just spitballing names. So like a couple of other names that almost could have been. I'm a big
realities.
Yeah, alternate realities. I was a big Pokemon fan, still am. So taking the names from Team Rocket, and I was almost Jesse and James.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of, but we didn't land on that one.
Not gonna lie to you, I'm glad you went back to revise it. Don't get me wrong, I love a subtle reference any other guy, but
I didn't want to be like, I didn't want people to be like, oh, okay, well, you're just gonna give us Pokemon tea or something, because that's not who I wanted to.
Well, for me, if I were to see a drag queen with the name Jesse and James, I would assume it's either two people, or they got like some split personality thing going on, or that they're like really into like the cowboy, or Jesse James, wasn't that a cowboy's name?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't. American education system. What are you gonna do?
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So, that being said, we went to the same high school.
Absolutely.
You
Good
know.
old E.L. Bowser.
Yes. You know, we went to the new building. It was weird. It's a whole kinds of things, but they had a great theater program there. We got to be in a few shows together, which I will be hopefully slicing photos in if I can get the rights to them. Talking with the photography people on them right now, because it's a whole thing with rights. They're an old place that shut down. New people have the rights. It's whatever. They have a watermark. I don't want to show watermarked photos, so I'm trying to get them the right way.
I got you.
But that being said, we were in. I might cut that down. We were in many shows together. Obviously, Dracula. We were in Sandbad Stage Left as well, which I think was the most fun show that we were in together.
Honestly, that Sandbag Stage Left was the highlight, one of the highlights of Bowser's theater department for me.
Honestly, it's a cult classic in my memory. You know what I mean?
And not just because the show was essentially about me.
Well, hey,
but it was still fun nonetheless.
somebody had to be the criminal on trial, right?
And it just,
we had to
so
frame you
happened
like
be me.
Roger Rabbit. You know what I mean? I I tell you what, if I had seen Better Call Saul, that TV show, before I had watched, before I had been in the show, I would have been like, that's the thing! That's what I'm doing! Right? So I loved how high school theater taught me so much about acting and about character work and all those types of different things. Even costuming, makeup work, lighting, rigging, all that. If that's what I'm doing here today, right? So in a similar sense, would you say that high school theater or theater experience as a whole helped prepare you for the life you're living now as a drag queen? Or would you say that not really?
I would say yes. Ultimately, I did not see this for myself, and I don't think anybody else really did either. So it was kind of a surprise to a lot of people. I knew that my love for performing never died after graduation. So I knew I wanted to like get into like some kind of like community theater or stuff like that. And then I kind of just fell into drag. I became a fan really, I don't want to say late, but I was around like 19, 20 when I finally started watching Drag Race.
Got you.
So I was a little late to the party, but my love for it like grew so fast that you would have thought I've known about it like my whole life.
Completely understand. So you would say that Drag Race, my stutter coming out, Drag Race, but you would say that Drag Race was very influential on your journey then, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, then what would you say is your overall opinion of the show? Do you think it is, for the culture of drag, kind of seen, does it give people a good impression of what drag is on the whole? Or do you think that it's a little bit too glamorized and that casual fans may walk away with a different sense? Like, how do you think it represents drag as a culture?
So I will say, I think in the... this is where it's going to get controversial.
Uh-oh, here we go.
I think in the earlier seasons of Drag Race, it was the nitty gritty. Like, it was drag. Drag was like messy. Drag was a statement.
Yeah.
I think as time has gone on and the show has gotten more popular to where we are now, it still holds the same weight. However, I do think it is a bit glamorized in a way. Maybe as far as the amount of money needed to put into drag to be successful.
Yes.
I mean, money helps. I'm not gonna lie. Do I think someone's drag is equivalent to what they can afford? Absolutely not.
So you would say the financial barrier is kind of not highlighted enough. That would you say that, like, if Drag Race was a little bit more honest about like what everyone spends on everything, that would help alleviate any perceptions of like people just doing things for the love of it and not really realizing how much that costs to do?
Yeah, I would say so. There's definitely there is definitely a difference, and you can sense that sometimes with people who are doing it because they love the art and the people who are doing it for, let's say, just like fame, or it gives them something to do.
Right.
And I think Drag Race kind of blurs that, because a lot of girls get on there and, I mean, essentially you are your business, so you're getting on there for an opportunity to present yourself and to show yourself off.
Right.
I think sometimes girls will get lost in like, oh, I need the most expensive gowns, and oh, I need, like, that's lovely.
Yeah.
But it's unrealistic to, like, if you're not looking like that at home, girl, I don't want to see it on my screen.
True. So it sets an unrealistic standard. That makes sense a lot. You know, I don't want to necessarily, as a person who's only seen a couple of seasons myself, a very, very casual drag race fan, mostly all-stars. I'm going to be honest with
Oh,
you.
that's the good stuff.
Yeah, mostly all-stars. You know, I love all of the production. I love everything like that. But, you know, hey, I'll be transparent with everybody. This podcast set cost me like $400 to $500 when everything's said and done. Just between like the green screen that's behind the camera right now for like promotional stuff and photos and things like that, and like these foam panels themselves were like $50 for each color. So it's like insane how much just basic equipment. These cameras each were $100. Like just basic recording, basic anything equipment, especially when it comes to DIY projects like fabric and everything like that. I can understand that at some point it comes to, you know, where's the craft, right? Where's the handmade, like personal impact on it, right? And you know, hey, don't hate on anyone for trying to get their bag and getting their name out there and promoting themselves, right?
Oh no.
What are we here?
We're all doing the same thing.
Right? We're all just a bunch of assholes talking to cameras in one way or another, right? So, you know, not hating on anyone getting their bag or anything, but I definitely do understand that, like, yeah, this stuff is not easy, and it does come from, you know, essentially once you get to that level of place of privilege. Luckily, we're not there yet, you know. But of course, that might be someplace you want to go someday, right? So, right, what are your aspirations in your career as a drag queen? What are your goals, your overall, like, peaks of your peaks? Like, if you could do, you know, somebody handed you a contract tomorrow to, like, start doing anything you wanted, what would you do?
I would take over the world. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
When I first started, I was like, yeah, I want to get on Drag Race. Like, that's like an ultimate goal.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's like the ultimate goal, like a make or break. Like, if I don't get on, like, I failed as a queen, because I don't have that feeling in me.
Of course.
But Drag Race is, thank you. Drag Race is definitely a goal of mine. We'll see. It's getting real competitive.
Right.
So it's like I really want to spend time to perfect my craft a little more before I just like jump into it. Like, do I feel ready now? Absolutely not. Do I get that change in like 2 to 3 years? Absolutely. Hopefully the show is still on.
Hopefully.
Again, mainstream.
Ooh.
We're getting crazy.
Yes.
So Drag Race is definitely one of those goals. I do want to travel. I am a part of a drag house, a mixed house, if you will. So my drag mom is in a relationship with her partner, and he has a drag house as well.
Right.
So it's like 2 families in one. Is crazy.
Sounds like most families, right?
Absolutely. So like I keep telling them, like, we need to do a tour. Like I can definitely see us in like 5 years like putting on a nice little tour of like just us showcasing our talent around the US. That'd be amazing. And I would love to like just keep speaking that into fruition.
Right. And you know, while we're speaking about your drag family, is there any specific members of your drag family you'd like to give a shout out to and highlight as well while you're here?
I hate them all. They're all trash. No. So, first and foremost, mother of the house, Giselle DeVoe, Toledo's premier dancing doll. Then we have Anthony Solo Jackson, who is the father of the house. Shout out to you, Dad. Oh, I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. I'm going to start with solo side. We have Blue Eclipse Darling, Bend Over Jackson, Hazel Harley Jackson, and Giovanni J. Jackson DeVoe.
Hell yeah.
And I don't think I've missed anybody on his side. And then on mom's side, we have Aaliyah Lux, and Freedia Nipps, myself.
Hell yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I'm not missing any kids on her side as well.
Oh, trust me, if you miss them, they'll let you know.
They'll let me know, but I won't care.
Yeah, they'll find out somehow, right? They'll be
Absolutely.
like, if I get 3 viewers, they'll be the 3 viewers who watch this show
for
and
sure.
be like, oh, we snitching. Right? Alright, so, shouting out the drag family, of course. I mentioned earlier, asking about if theater prepared you for drag or not. Because, of course, I think it prepared me for comedy or whatever. But what would you say was your, I know Drag Race as well inspired you to pursue drag. But what was your path to drag like for you? Like, how did you go about, creating your persona, getting booked, getting, known, joining a family? Like, how was that path for you?
So, once I realized that, like, yeah, I actually do want to do this thing. The first step for me personally was finding help, and that would be in a drag family.
Always need help.
Yeah, definitely, especially considering I started from ground zero, not having a interest in makeup or anything like that, and all of a sudden it's just like, I'm gonna do this.
Heck yeah.
So Giselle was the person that I contacted first. And she made me work for it. I will say, I asked her a couple of times. Yeah, I'm gonna spill this tea, girl. I asked her a couple of times before we actually made anything happen. And originally, I started as a background dancer for her. And we definitely hung out a couple of times. She got a feel for who I was, and it was more so of like the pieces weren't falling into place. So like once they finally did, I started working at Mary's in 2023.
Hell yeah!
When they moved over from the docks, and just as a server. But we had a turnabout show, which is basically non-entertainment staff. So like the servers, the bartenders, hosts, anybody really. If for a night, if they wanted to, they could literally put themselves in the queen's shoes.
Hell yeah!
And me, really like trying to break into the biz, I was like, oh, this is the opportunity.
Any chance to kick to that door open?
Oh,
right?
Absolutely. So it was kind of just the right place, right time in 2023. So the Turnabout show happened in January 2024, and that was like my debut, and I kind of like just kept going since then.
Hell yeah.
With open stages and Star Search at Mary's, and just I like the fact that I have a drag family, but my goal is to make the name for myself. Like I don't want to. I love being in it. However, it is. I'm selling myself.
Right. Everyone has their own brand. My name's on the goddamn screen back here. Because it's like, and it's right there, and your name's right there. Like, we all have names. We're all trying to make something of ourselves, right? But I don't think it's necessarily selfish to try to make something of yourself, right? Because like, in that way, you could give back to your family, because your family would be where you got your start.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like, I don't think if anyone makes a name of themselves, it should ever look bad upon the people that they got helped by along the way, right? And, that's just, we all have help along the way, right?
Absolutely.
We always need help as people. Because I personally believe that, the idea of a self-made person is kind of, we all have help along the way. People who teach us what we do and whatever. And even if you put the pieces together yourself and nobody else can do it besides you,
somebody gave you those pieces.
Somebody gave you those pieces and showed you, like, hey, maybe that one's a corner, or that one's like towards the middle. You know what I mean? We all get hints, right? And I find that so helpful. Moving on, what is something that people who are like casual fans of drag somebody who maybe only watches Drag Race, or somebody who doesn't ever go to any local shows or anything like that. Somebody who's never had the personal experience with it. What is something that they might not know about drag in general?
Whenever I giggle like that, that's because it's probably going to be something shady.
Shade.
I would probably say for the people who, let's say, whose main source of drag is Drag Race, and they, let's say there's a Drag Race queen coming to a local bar near you, and you don't really go to the venue outside of, a celebrity, in essence, being here, that is kind of shady. It's, and it's only in the sense of, like, we're here and we represent you, like, our cities and like our people, and they're already getting their bag. So why don't you share the wealth with, the people in your community? Because I guarantee you that Rue girl does not need that $20 bill that you're giving her. And the only reason you're giving it to her is because you have a camera behind your hand like this to have evidence that you tipped her.
Yeah.
I see you. I know what happens.
So definitely, like, you're advocating for more of a bottom-up approach to when it comes to drag names. And
Absolutely. It's not hard to support local drag. Like, if you like drag on your screens, you can go out to, like, a club, or even if it's not your scene. Drag queens are, and drag kings as well, and drag things are really taking up space in a lot of different areas.
Right.
So even if, like, the club setting isn't your thing, there are so many different ways you can support your local drag.
Yes, and I would argue that something that people can do if there is not a local show in their area, what they can do is they can go to the venues where they would like one to be,
Mm-hmm.
and request it, right?
Absolutely.
Right, because if the only way to get people to give them something is if they know that there's a market for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because unfortunately these venues, they're like every other game out there in town. They're trying to bring people in, right? And, if they don't know that there's a demand in their area for a drag, they won't even think about bringing drag in. And you would think, like, oh, how could somebody not think about doing drag at a bar or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
But it's maybe not that they didn't think of it. They might not. Excuse me, I burped while I was speaking. Messy. But maybe they didn't think of it because, they're not sure that their guests, they're worried about their clientele,
Mm-hmm.
they're worried about perception or what the community might say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but if they know that the community wants it, they're probably more likely to give it, right?
Oh, definitely.
I'm having the same issue with comedy, right? We are trying to do more and more local comedy in the area, but it seems like more and more now, people are kind of getting a little bit antsy about comedians going up and just saying whatever they want.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's, yes, we all have free speech, and I can understand why a venue may not want to platform people, especially if they don't know what they're going to say.
Right.
But at the same time, it's nice to have venues that are willing to platform people and give people a chance to be messy, make the mistake, become a better performer, and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very glad that Hamburger Marys exist to give you a platform, to give you a place to break out, spread your wings, learn, grow, all that stuff. Forgive me if I'm a little bit slurry today, folks. I am fighting a little bit of a sinus infection, so that's why I'm noticing it as I'm speaking. If I sound like Squidward, there you go. But for people who don't know or have never been before, Hamburger Mary's, what is it and how would you describe it as a place and vibe and everything?
Okay, and now this is where I have to get my notes because they gave me an official statement because I told them I was coming here.
Oh, hell yeah.
Come
Thank
on,
you, Hamburger Mary's.
benefactress. No, they just wanted to make sure I didn't say something stupid.
Oh, okay. Well, hey, thank you for making sure that Miss Freedia doesn't say anything stupid.
All right. So here we go, straight from Mother Mary's mouth. Hamburger Mary's is best known for our delicious gourmet burgers served with an overall flamboyant dining experience, where every meal is served with a complimentary side of sass. We offer fabulous nightly drag shows, drag brunches, charity bingo events, and other dazzling entertainment. It's dinner theater like you've never experienced.
Ooh. Theater. Dinner theater. Love it. And good. Now we have not said anything stupid. Right?
Leave it up to me and I would have, so.
We love you, Mother Mary. Please don't crush us.
However you do it.
Ah. You know, I have been to Hamburger Mary's once or twice. I have not been since you have been working. I don't have a car, folks. But we're working on it. We're all working on it. You know, but as soon as I get the chance, I'd love to come back through because, unironically, this is a part of Hamburger Mary's that doesn't really get talked about enough. The food's actually good, y'all.
I'd like to think so. There are some naysayers, but girl, y'all taste buds are just off because I love Mary's food.
Because it's not the drag queens cooking the food, right?
No, y'all don't want me back there cooking.
Right. I've legitimately, I think somebody asked me that once. It's like, oh, did the drag queens make the food there? I'm like, what person wants to, like, listen, I'm not saying that drag queens can't cook, right? Because people can do multiple things, right? But I can't imagine somebody boiling pasta with a face full of makeup and then checking the pasta.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You know, it's like, how would that work?
I spent a while doing this, and you think I want to have it all sweaty and nasty? I mean, no one's gonna see it because I'm in the kitchen, but what's the point, girl?
Regardless, why would you be in drag if you're in
Yeah.
the kitchen and no one's gonna see it, right? That's why we get you out of the kitchen on the dance floor where you should be, because you need to be seen, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Speaking of like melting your face off, I have had some experience myself doing like special effects makeup, like more monster haunted house type stuff with prosthetics and scars and all that type of stuff. But one of the things I found the hardest part about performing, because performing in the haunted house, you're running around scaring people, doing all kinds of things, right? You're sweating a lot. And same with drag. You're dancing, you're shaking it, you're taking tips, you're belting your heart out during the lip sync, right? You're absolutely putting on the show, and obviously you're gonna sweat, right? And not to be gross about it, but the question comes to, practically, how did you manage the task of not getting your face to melt off? Because I tell you what, this horror movie slasher guy stopped being scary when half of my face is gone.
Oh yeah.
So how do you keep the performance and like keep everything intact while you're performing?
So fun fact about me, I am a sweaty gal. So I am still experimenting with like certain ways to like avoid that. Honestly, it's kind of just, especially in these like hot summer months, that's where I have the most struggle.
Especially with the heat wave lately. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been very diabolical. I hear the types of powder that I use will affect that. A lot of girls will hairspray their face.
Classic. Same with haunted houses.
So there are ways around that, and I am still finding my footing with that. I spend a lot of time just kind of making sure that like throughout the day that my face is still good. If I need to like touch up anything, I'm able to do that. But honestly, I apply my makeup with a prayer, and AC buildings are nice as well. I will say that.
I'm not gonna lie to you, I made sure to turn down the AC at least 3 degrees because I didn't know what type of drag you would be wearing today, and I just wanted to make sure in case you went with a layered look, we were all cold.
Oh yeah, I was also thinking about that as well when I was getting ready. I was like, it's definitely gonna be something light.
Yes.
Just in case, because I know outside is hateful.
Oh yes, yes. I want ironic slurring my words here again, sinus infection, y'all. But I've got the green screen blocking some windows that are behind the camera, and I swear to you, I don't know what it is, but having that there has reduced the amount of heat this room takes in a lot. Because, like, my cat loves to sit in that window.
Oh, yes. That's the rays. That's where all the rays of sun come from.
Exactly.
Nice and warm.
But, for me, I would hate, because my bed used to be in here at some point, because this was my bedroom. I had transformed it. Haha. But, it was impossible to get a good night's sleep in here half the time. Because I would legitimately just be like, okay, blanket off, blanket on, blanket off, blanket on. Oh God, it's not working. Ugh, pillow, turn it over, get a new pillow. It's like, it was insane. It's not supposed to be this hot in Ohio, folks. Honestly, it's not. Not in my opinion. You know, see where we are in my notes, and did that one. Oh, next question on my list is, you know, we were talking a second ago about the culture. You mentioned the mainstream, you know, a second ago, things are getting crazy. And, you know, without getting too far into it right away, we'll ease our toes into this. Let's just be honest and say that right now is a very turbulent time in the world, you know.
Yes.
Politically speaking, divisive-wise, you know, a lot of people have a lot of opinions, and they're saying them. And a lot of those opinions are about drag culture. Right? And what would you say that would you have had along your journey in your life? Has that affected you in a way? Like, is there any negative drawback to being a drag queen in 2020, 25? Oh, not 2020, 25. Numbers, y'all. 2025. Is there any drawback to being a drag queen?
I definitely have not experienced it yet. I definitely know that it is out there. I, for the most part, have been very blessed to surround myself with positive energy and mindsets on what drag is, but I am not blind to like the reality of the situation.
Yes.
I know there are people out there who are in the mindset of like, we're trying to, you know,
Are you talking from the perspective of people who think drag is, let's just say, there are people on Fox News who would say drag is, you know, they're against it because they're trying to protect the children. Is that what you're getting at?
Yes. So basically, we, a lot of us, honestly, myself included, don't even like kids that much. If you really think about it, we're very welcoming them into our spaces, but my art,
the non-adult spaces.
Yeah,
of course.
my
Not
art,
bars, guys.
yeah, not the bars. Keep your kids out of the bars. We don't want them.
Yeah, your kid shouldn't be at bars. But your art,
yeah, my art isn't necessarily for kids all the time, and I don't feel the need to always be kid friendly. Now, one of the things that I do recognize and have learned working at Mary's is that flexibility in performing, though, because there are some days where we have kids in our audience, and I'm like, oh, I'm not gonna do this song. It's a little bit much,
right?
But
yes.
then maybe in a later show, still a dinner show, there won't be any kids. I'll let loose a little bit more, but there's still like a certain standard to be met when performing for Hamburger Marys.
Exactly. There's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah, and honestly, if you don't want your kids like exposed to art, essentially, then take them to Chuck E. Cheese, you know. Take them to
even then there's art, because somebody made those animatronics.
Yeah, like take them to Jeepers. No, they don't do Jeepers Creepers anymore. I just aged myself. Oops.
Where I'm almost 30. We're good.
Not jeepers.
Yeah, trust me. We're getting there. We are the current generation, right?
And that's scary.
That's scary, right? Time is a wicked mistress, is all I'll say. You know, about that, when it comes to children's spaces, right? Because, you know, there's a lot of people who, like, the big political rally was against drag queen story time, you know, and can't have drag queens reading to kids because it's, and this is not my belief, to make it clear, but there are people who call it grooming, who say it's like exposing kids to confusing ideas, right? And let's be real, that is a dog whistle for people who are bigots against the LGBT community.
Absolutely.
You know, and it is definitely with Drad's ties to that community. Do you think that it is, in a sense, harder for straight people to understand what drag really is outside of their mindset of gender and queerness and whatever? Or do you think for those people who are a bit more against the idea as a whole, that it has less to do with what drag actually is and what they want to make it out to be?
Yes. So I would more so say the people who are piping up the most are they're not seeing it for what it is.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, it's expression.
Right.
It can be gender expression. It can be, you know, musical expression. It's at the end of the day, it's literally just we're trying to express ourselves.
Exactly.
So there, honestly, there's no hidden agenda or anything like that. I mean, the same way as like your comedy makes you feel, you know, putting on this makeup and this wig and it, not a wig. I'm sorry, this is my real hair. Putting on this makeup, putting on this makeup and these heels and getting up there and twirling for a crowd is doing the same thing for me.
Yeah. We all love performing. We love to serve the audience, right? It's about giving people a chance to escape from their life, and for me at least, that's what it is. You know. So, you know, we talked about how drag has a lot to do with gender expression, right? The same people who would, you know, give a criticism of drag as, you know, being either, you know, too queer or too adult for whatever. Another thing they might throw out there is that it's a mockery of women. You know, it's not real women, and like people should support real women, or like, you know, and I've always seen drag more as a celebration of real women myself. But at the same time, it can be a send-up of femininity. It can be both in a sense. So for you, where does drag fall? Is it respectful parody, or is it a celebration of womanhood or gender or identity as a whole?
So drag for me is kind of like a mixture of like a love letter to all of the black women who helped raise me. At least my drag is.
Yes.
A love letter to those black women who helped raise me. However,
right,
my personality type is very goofy.
Yes.
So I love being like, I love being sexy, I love being hot, I love being, can I cuss?
Yeah, of course you can.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I love being fucking stupid. So if there's a way I can intertwine all of that together, like I love black women and I love portraying one. However, am I gonna make a caricature out of y'all? Absolutely. Because y'all are characters yourselves. And honestly, if y'all got caught doing some of the stuff I was doing, y'all would have a lot less to say. But that's neither here nor there. Like I said, my drag is kind of a mixture between like a love letter, goofiness and that like still like sex kitten meow meow.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. I mean, we all love characters, right?
Mhm.
Because my first exposure to drag is not really probably the same as most people's exposure to drag, or it is, but they just never realized it was drag because, of course, I was a kid who grew up in a more, I would say, stricter traditionalist family, right?
Mhm.
So my first real exposure to the concept of drag was through Mrs. Doubtfire, through like SNL, through
Mhm.
like the more goofy comedy person, like old guy playing an old lady in a suit or whatever type of thing. Norbert, throw that in there, Nutty Professor, all those things as well.
Mhm.
And would you say that comedy drag in that sense is just as much a part of drag, or would you say that it is a different thing entirely? Would you say that it is how would you compare that, like Robin Williams in Doubtfire or Eddie Murphy in Nutty Professor playing his own mom? Is that still drag, or is that, where's your tea on that?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely still drag. It. This is where it gets kind of fun.
Hell yeah.
And I'm gonna say that probably a couple more times.
We love fun.
So I do feel like in certain cases, mainstream media did not help drag as much as we'd like to claim, just because it made it seem like a joke.
Yes.
And to a lot of people, this is like our bread and butter. This is, how we pay our bills. So I think the mainstream media, specifically comedy, it was funny. It's still funny.
Yeah.
Comedy movies specifically, kind of put a damper on what we were trying to accomplish, just a little bit.
Yes.
While still shining a light and making it known, but it was like, for example, To Wong Fu.
Yeah.
Love the movie. Literally one of the movies that helped me come into my drag hood. It was played by 3 straight men.
Yeah.
And so there's little to no real representation in that at the time specifically.
Right.
Because now we've opened it. Everybody can do it.
True. Would you say that the fact that everyone can do it now, would you say that that is a hindrance to drag, or is that a benefit to drag? That the accessibility to drag has never been higher?
I definitely think it is interesting, to
Right.
say the least. I think it has both its pros and its cons. I'm not gonna sit here and say like we don't want straight people doing drag, because y'all can say the same thing about us. Y'all don't want to see us in y'all spaces, and I get that. So, by all means, I love it when straight people or people who are cis and doing still like femme queens. I love a good femme queen. I love a good male entertainer, a male lead, if you will.
Hell yeah.
But on the other hand, I do feel like they've helped us as well, because it's just more advocation at the end of the day. It's more people to advocate that this is not some like fucking fetish.
Right.
This is not some like kink. This is just people expressing themselves, and the more people who are allowed to do that,
Yeah.
I feel like it's a beautiful thing.
I agree. Can't agree more with that. And honestly, for me, it's been very nice to see like the fact that drag has become this type of thing to where, when I was younger, the only place I would see it would be in comedy movies, or
Mhm.
they would have that classic trope of like, guys talking to a woman at a bar, and then their wig gets ripped off, and it's a man, right? And like, how horrible is that, right? Because queer people have always existed, right? The representation has not always been perfect, but it's nice that we've gotten to a place to where it's so accessible to where queer people growing up now have the access to drag.
Absolutely. I love that. I honestly wish that there was more representation when we were growing up. However, the representation that we had was enough to get us through.
Exactly.
But I love that. Even though it doesn't seem like it, the world is like just a little bit closer to being accepting and welcoming to the younger generation of queers.
And it may not seem like it now, because I get that it doesn't. Trust me, I see the news. I've read the news. I get what's happening right now, but there will always be Jost Merleau, who is a psychiatrist I like to read. He always wrote about how in times of tyranny, there are always parallel structures that exist to where, there will always be oppressors, there will always be tyrants, there will always be people who are like saying, you can't do this, you can't express yourself, you can't be who you are, who try to divide people, traumatize people, and like do whatever they can to just keep you under their thumb. But even if they put us under their thumb, we're still gonna be there holding their thumb up, and we're gonna be doing it serving the entire time, right?
Serving work, girl.
I myself do identify as a non-binary bisexual person, right? So it is easier for me to have access to drag, right? But that being said, I have not ever done drag, right? Because personally, I do not find the genderness of it to be a thing that I would enjoy. And that is okay, obviously. It's not for everyone to do. And trust me, I could not physically perform it either. I can barely do stand-up comedy, right? That's why I'm sitting down for our podcast. But, that being said, lately, in the past few years, there have been a rise in the trend of bio kings and bio queens. Regardless of what their sexualities are, whether they're straight, bi, pansexual, asexual, anything like that, that doesn't matter, right? How would you feel about somebody performing as a biological queen or king alongside you? How do you feel about that?
Honestly, I love it. I know a few bio queens. I know a few bio kings as well. So and they're like in family as well. So it's just fun, honestly. Sometimes there's a learning curve, I will say, because honestly, drag originated as a very male-dominated field.
Of course.
As most things were.
Drag kings, I would say, could even still use, I'm shocked there is yet to be a drag king season of, Drag Race.
Oh yeah, we just got a show not too long ago. The first season of King of Drag just ended. We're finally getting some drag king representation in the mainstream.
Finally.
Long time coming, honestly. So that first season just ended. But going back to the question of the bio queens and bio kings, I mean, the tea is, if you want to do it and you're going to be respectful about it, by all means.
Would you, there are some people I've seen who say that it gives, if you're already a woman biologically, you're not really transforming the way a male biologically would transform into a woman for drag. And that's unfair, in a sense. What would you say to somebody who would say that, like, being biologically the gender you're performing as in drag, is that an advantage, or is that just something that, like, a person can't really help, or is it has less to do with what their gender actually is biologically and more to do with their character, or where does that come into play?
I will say drag has always been like the profession,
Yes.
and that has little to nothing to do with who the person identifies as outside of that. So with that being said, I don't find it like offensive or anything. I don't think that it's like weird or unwarranted in any way. For example, my drag dad, Solo Jackson,
Right.
he born a male. Still, performs as male predominantly. We just debuted a woman, but for the most part, he's solo.
Good for both.
But and he's very talented. He's very strong. He made a name for himself, definitely, and he's definitely one of the strongest male leads, male performers that I've come to know.
Got you. Of course, we were talking about, the negative culture around drag right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there will be any long-term effects on drag as a culture? Like, do you think that this is a stigma that will go away with time? Or do you think that there will always be, those satanic panicists who will always, like, make a meal out of something that's not really a meal? Like, how do you feel? Like, is that something that we can get away from in the future? Or do you think that it's, like, there will always be haters?
I definitely think there's always going to be haters, but at the end of the day, it is kind of up to us to just be us, regardless, and to know that there is community, like in not even just drag, but just like there's community in everything we do. Honestly, like so many things connects us to each other.
Yeah.
So I think later on down the line we're gonna have better days, and like I do see a better understanding on the horizons because I am still an optimist at the end of the day.
We love the optimism.
But is it gonna be like perfect? Absolutely not.
Whatever is, though.
Okay, nothing.
You're
Honestly,
right.
not even me.
We cut that. No, I'm joking. She lying on the podcast because we know all drag queens. Obviously, there's that stigma or stereotype that perpetuated by the reality show nature of a lot of drag shows, right, in the culture. Would you say that like drag dressing rooms are nearly as catty or gossipy as they are portrayed to be in real life, or?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
All right, well,
By far one of my favorite parts of drag, honestly.
hell
And
yeah.
we can definitely get into it. Drag queens, drag kings, drag things, they're all shady bitches.
Shit talkers too.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
Especially if they're comfortable in their space. Let me tell you, every queen that comes into Hamburger Mary's, they know they're gonna have a good time because we're just in the dressing room talking shit.
yeah.
It's a good time.
Do you ever have one of those moments where you, for whatever reason, you didn't realize that the person you were talking about is there?
Mm-hmm.
How does that go down? Like, how do you
I
resolve
put my
that
foot
issue?
in my mouth all the time. Honestly, it depends on the severity of what you were saying, honestly. Because I personally don't say things out of people's company that I would be afraid to say in their company.
Right.
And that's just always been like
That's
my
a good way to
thing.
be.
Yeah, so like I never worry too much about it. But there have been some situations to where people have expressed some feelings about others or maybe a situation, and they didn't know people were in the dressing room listening. So I would always say, be cautious of the types of conversations.
Right, and things can always get back to each other, right? Because we're all playing a game of telephone, right?
So, or just don't say anything that you can't back up with these, because a girl like me is always ready.
So, of course, you always gotta have to protect yourself if it comes to it, right? But let's hope that you never say anything too bad to have somebody make sure everyone can get it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
no, I've been close a couple times with some of these girls.
That being said, obviously things will get tense in that type of environment, right? But there is a community there, right? I've witnessed it at a few drag shows I've been to. We had a drag show here in town a couple of years ago at Ziggy's that I went to, and I've seen some behind the scenes stuff. So it definitely does get a little tense at times. But what I find is that no matter how catty things get at times, there's always that sense of underlying community.
Absolutely.
Right? And it always seems that, like, even the person you're shit-talking, you'd also, like, throw down to defend them. Half the time.
Yeah. There's been a couple of times just in the past, like, month and a half where I've gotten myself into trouble protecting my family. So it's like, I can say that, that wig is a mess. You need to brush it. I mean, are you seriously gonna wear that tonight? You're not wearing a nail today? That's crazy.
You're giving viewers flashbacks to their real family. They're like, this is like my dad in high school.
But if anybody else were to say, like, you're not wearing a nail, you're going to wear that, like, that wig is busted, I'm ready to fight.
Yeah.
So it's like, I can say those things, but some random bitch cannot.
Right. Well, you have the rapport built up to where you can serve the realness, right, as we like to say. So that being said, we've talked a little bit about drag families. This is a question I had here that I had not written down for you. But how would you say drag families compare to real families?
Oh, they're the same. They're the same dysfunctional, loving. I want to fight half of my siblings all the time, especially Giovanni. He's gonna love that.
Calling you out.
It is very similar. It is. I feel the love. I always say sometimes I feel too much. Right. And it's kind of like, oh, y'all were strangers just a couple of years ago. So, like, how can you love me this much? But it is very humbling, and it just feels good to know that, like, these people who don't have to look out for you are. And sometimes that's stronger than blood connections. So I hold my drag family to a very high, like, regard in my heart.
Well, I find that bonds with people are kind of as strong as you forge them to be, metaphysically speaking. You know what I mean? It's the type of thing that's like, you don't just, to use a metaphor here, in blacksmithing, you don't just make a sword strong by using one hit and then you have a perfect blade. You have to fold it a few times. It takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to actually strengthen all the connections that you're making, right? And I find the same is true with people, right?
Yes.
Along the way, what would you say that, like, have there been any connections with drag queens that you have gotten to make that have really, like, left an impression on you? Like, has there been any advice given along the way, or, like, anyone that you've met who's really, like, seen you and made you feel seen that, like, has helped you get to where you are?
Absolutely. I definitely will say the number one person on that list would be my mom, Giselle.
Of course.
Like I said, background dance for her. She saw the potential. Took a little time, but we finally got there. She definitely sees me for me, and I wholeheartedly appreciate that. She pushes me to, new grounds every chance she gets, even though sometimes it can get annoying, girl. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Well, hey, when you're getting pushed, somebody gets pushed. Who pushed me?
But no, it's all out of love. She's definitely a big one. One of a Rue girl that I met and got to hang out with, Megami from, I want to say season 16 of Drag Race, maybe 15 or 16.
Watch the comments be like, fake fan, she doesn't even know. Fake fan.
I got to hang out with her and I got pictures with her, so.
Y'all, if you're gatekeeping people on what seasons, numbers, or whatever, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, go touch grass.
Yeah.
But she was also someone who I met last Pride, and we actually got to hang out after Pride, and we like spent the day at Cedar Point together. It was a whole thing. She's the light of my life. Can't wait to see her again.
Amazing.
She saw me for me as well. She had so many like nice things to say. She actually saw me perform. That's when I won my first Star Search at Hamburger Mary's.
Which, by the way, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Very
that
belated,
seems so
but,
long ago. Yeah, I'm like, that seems so long ago. Jeez.
But you gotta congratulate every award, you know?
Absolutely, and I appreciate that. But yeah, Megami as well. So I'll say Giselle, Megami, just to name like a couple of people. There's been a few instances where like I've met a queen for the first time, and she's like, "Oh, I know who you are," and I'm like, kind of gagged because I'm like, girl, I know who you are. You're sickening. You know me. What does that mean? So,
right.
Just getting those interactions are kind of fulfilling it within themselves.
I've had that once or twice with other comedians I've respected, where it's like I had either been at a comedy show that they were just at, just supporting comedy as we do for each other. I'm sure you go to drag shows out of drag too, right?
In drag, out of drag, it doesn't really matter. It
Exactly.
ain't me.
You'll go even if you're not performing because you want to support the community,
Absolutely.
right? Same thing with me. In fact, while we're speaking about it, I have Frankie's in Toledo. They're doing the Crumbly Cup on September 13th. There's going to be 32 comedians competing. I will not be one of them, because it is a very, very exclusive ticket, right? But I will be there, just in the audience, just to support it. And as you should be too. Go to Crumbly Comedy on Facebook for ticket information and everything like that. It's going to be a great show. That being said, speaking of venues, I have seen that you are performing at Frankie's, right? You're performing at Frankie's as of recording this weekend, correct, for Pride? Or was that last weekend?
It's going to be at Promenade Park.
Oh,
Pride.
I got my locations completely. See, I didn't do all of my research. I got my notes wrong.
You're good.
Yeah. Promenade Park. Okay, well that's different. Have you performed at Frankie's before, or?
I've not performed.
Then I'm just hallucinating. Y'all call me ChatGPT over here. I'm hallucinating. I've got the schizophrenia brain right now.
Excited to meet Frankie though. Hey Frankie.
Hey, it's a wonderful bar. If you ever get the chance to go, I think they have done drag shows there. Maybe we could get you up on the list.
We'll have to check them out. Hey Frankie.
Yeah, but that being said, different venues. Obviously, I've performed at Grumpy Dave's here in town, because that's the show that got me into comedy. And we're actually switching to a monthly showcase starting. If I'm wrong, I'm going to edit in a screen here where I have the information about when our next show at Grumpy's is. Because we're doing a monthly showcase. Woohoo! We quit for the summer, so we had to reorganize and come back. But that being said, I've performed at Howard's H Club here in town. I've performed, at different venues in Toledo, Frankie's. I've performed at Chevy's. I've performed Ottawa Tavern. A bunch of different places, right? Even a place in Detroit that I can't think of the name. Comedy Kindergarten, I want to say. But that being said, what's your favorite venues? Any places you'd like to shout out that you performed outside of Hamburger Mary's, or is it all just Hamburger Mary's for now?
For the most part, it's just been Hamburger Mary's and Georgie's 419 around the corner on Adams.
We love Georgie's here.
Love Georgie's. Hey George, just in case, I don't know. See you soon. So mostly Mary's and Georgie's. I've been to MJ's in Dayton. That's been cool. I've been to Geneva on the Lake, to the Cove.
Oh.
That was actually my first out of town booking from Miss Vivian Vendetta Sinclair. Shout out to you, girl.
We love the shout out.
She all right.
Ain't nobody shit here then.
I have not performed yet, but I've been to Gigi's in Detroit a couple of times in support of my sister. But I am working my way down there real soon. So I've been a couple of places. I'll say every place that I've been to that's been new has been like a new experience and a good experience. So I can't really put like my thumb on just one outside of Mary's, my benefactress, Holy Mary. I have to say it.
Outside of Mary's, Frieda's favorite's open. If anybody wants to reach out to her and get some bookings, maybe you can be her new favorite.
Yes, if you want your book venue to be my new favorite booking, go ahead and drop a DM.
We'll slide into the DM. Actually, don't even slide in. Just kick the DMs wide open.
Kick the DMs wide open. They're open. There's no door.
Open.
Just say hi.
Yeah, we were raised in a barn around here. So, moving on from that, we have a lot of words that have come out of drag. You know what I mean? They have entered the popular culture because of their relation to drag, right? Like slay, like shade, like so many different words, the T, sickening, all those things, right? But obviously it's gotten to the point to where I would say I've even heard people who don't like drag saying those words because they have seeped so into the modern culture that, as every other thing happens in this country, it's become homogenized in a way. Would you say that there is a the homogenization of drag speak has lessened its impact and lessened, like, is there less fun to speak in that way when it's like, oh, everyone does it now? Cool.
Short answer, yes. The medium length answer, I love, our slang. I love, the yes, honey, you better work, bitch. Yeah. Oh, slay.
Boots the house down.
Boots the house down. But let me tell you, when I hear 60-year-old Hank Hill saying, yeah, you better work, girl. Oh, that's like, it hurts. It hurts.
Oh, no. Did that happen in the new King of the Hill? I have not seen it yet.
No, I no spoilers. I have not watched the new King of the Hill.
Okay, good.
You couldn't pay me to. But,
Hey, listen, as somebody who liked it, I will say I watched the first 2 episodes, and it seems like it's good. It's got its issues, as every show does, of course. But we won't get into that. Mike Judd is one of my animation heroes. He made King of the Hill, and he made, like, Beavis and Butthead. He also has a show called something unintended side effects, I think, on Adult Swim right now. But he also made that movie Idiocracy, if you've ever seen it.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's personally one of my aspirations, I'd say, as well as like people like I obviously Josh Johnson, who I just got to meet and go see recently. He's somebody I would aspire to be on the level of someday with my comedy, right? Who would you say is that, like, anyone out there in drag right now that you would aspire to be like? Anybody who, like, not obviously you are your own queen, right? But is there anyone out there that you look at and you go, that's it. That's the blueprint.
Pinnacle. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. So my first like inspiration in drag was surprisingly Bob the Drag Queen, which probably isn't that much of a surprise, honestly.
Love Bob the Drag Queen.
It's something about a suspiciously large woman. So I've always enjoyed like Bob, Monet, more recently Corey King.
Hell yes.
Bald, black. We're not gonna talk about the bald. Bald and black queens for the most part. And I guess you can throw Giselle in there too, because she is like the blueprint. I will always sing her praises. She is Toledo's crown jewel. We are lucky to have you, baby.
As lucky as anyone can be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, that being said, I'm actually surprised that, I know all those names.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie to you, because it does seem like there is, in drag, a bit of, how do I put this? Representation in drag seems to be something that is thought of as a side thought, you know what I mean, as an afterthought.
Mm-hmm.
Where I would argue that obviously, people know RuPaul, right?
Mm-hmm.
People know Bob the Drag Queen. There are names in drag who are of color, of black, people, but there are still some holes in the representation field.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that will come with time as drag grows more and more, or do you think that there can be more drag can do to reach out to people of color, of different minorities, to hey, this can be your space as well?
I think personally, there's so much representation happening with drag that I've seen it getting better over the years.
Always getting better.
Do I still feel like, for example, like some of our queens of our performers of color, I won't even limit it to just queens, have to work kind of harder than our Caucasian counterparts?
And here I am forgetting the kings. My mistake, fellas.
Oh yeah, don't worry about that. I'll always be able to catch on.
Yeah, whip me into shape. Go right ahead.
I do feel like we're always going to have to work that much harder than our Caucasian counterparts, unfortunately. But that also kind of builds to our character, because I feel like nothing's going to be handed to me.
Right.
So I'm going to show you why you want me in your space.
Exactly.
And then I'm going to leave it up to you.
You're going to prove yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and all you can do is leave it to either people to be liars and deny you,
Mm-hmm.
or to give you what's rightfully yours,
Mm-hmm.
that you've earned, right?
So representation definitely has come a long way. I still feel like we have a little bit to go.
Oh, yeah.
But I still see us being like immensely further than just 2 years ago.
Who knows? Maybe in 10 years we'll be having a conversation about the first artificial intelligence queen.
Okay.
Maybe that's where we'll be at, and we'll be called bigots for is that okay or not? It's like there's always going to be a question about representation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what is and isn't okay. And you know what? The idea in my mind is, as long as we're open,
Mm-hmm.
as long as we're always saying, yes, you can come in with respect.
Yeah.
That's
Respect
always
always has to be the baseline.
Exactly. We don't want people coming into spaces that already have something going on,
Mm-hmm.
and then changing what it is.
Right.
Exactly. Right. To fit a narrative, or to fit an idea of what they're afraid of. Right.
Mm-hmm. I always say, don't come into my house and turn on my TV and change the channel.
Exactly. That's good.
Thank you.
That's good. That's really fucking good. All right. So that being said, we mentioned Bob the Drag Queen. Bob the Drag Queen is actually in a show that I like to watch called Dimension 20. They did Dungeons and Drag
Dungeons
Queens.
and Drag Queens.
Yes, on Dropout and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And
a little subscription.
Yes, same here. I love Dropout. Sam Rice, hit me up. I would love to be on Game Changer.
Okay. Yes.
Right? Got to put it out there right now. But that being said, the drag has a lot of crossover appeal nowadays, right?
Mhm.
Because you can have shows like that where it is drag and Dungeons and Dragons, or drag doing comedy, right? There are stand-up drag queens, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are drag performers who do sing their own songs.
Mhm.
There are, outside of the traditional lip syncing, right?
Right.
There is there are so many different things that drag can be a part of and be a part of drag in a sense. Do you see that? How do you feel about like the cross genre experience of drag? How many like different things can be a part of it? How do you feel about that, like the cross section of it?
I think it's cool because, and I've probably said this like a couple times. Y'all are probably tired of hearing me say this. It is an expression of art.
Yeah.
So like, no matter like what the avenue is.
Hey, it's an hour-long podcast. We got to get that watch time, right? Second screen experience. I see you. I see you.
So yeah, I just think it's fucking cool that like we do have like people who sing live, and like we have people who are naturally funny and want to present that as well. I think it's just making more space for people to get more comfortable, because again, like someone's gonna find something that they enjoy.
Yeah.
In drag, and whether that's a dancing diva or powerhouse vocals, like at the end of the day, you enjoy drag, you enjoy someone else's art,
or just the costuming or the makeup aspect of it,
because that is also a skill that I do not have, a skill that I do not have. Hey, however,
you still made yourself look great. So like,
you
know what, we do what we have with the tools we have now, right? So that being said, you know, obviously there have been, like for example, I know of people who are of female biology who watch drag queen tutorials because they legitimately want to learn makeup from drag queens, because they know what they're doing, right? So it's all about the experience, all about learning, all about growing, right? And is there, in a sense, do you ever worry with the growth and with the cross-sectionality that, like, will drag ever become less special? Like, if there's ever a future where, like, every single town has a drag show and every night of the week or whatever, do you ever think it will lose its specialty, or do you think no matter how big it gets, it will always have that unique appeal to it?
Personally, I would like to think that it will not lose its luster. Realistically, however, I know if everybody and their mama starts doing drag, then you know,
right.
where's the? It's going to be harder for people to feel like their art is valid.
It's going to be harder to climb, especially.
Yeah. And not even saying that everybody has the like desire to climb or anything. Like, if you're happy where you're at, girl, stay where you're at.
Yeah, but everybody has a place they fit, and, and if you don't feel like you fit where you are now, find a place to fit. And if you fit good where you are, why change it?
Yeah.
Right. So.
But overall, I see it like. I see the longevity of it, definitely. I don't know how much it's gonna mean if everybody is doing drag.
Right. So, would you say that there is an inherent need in you to like want to protect people? Like, you know, obviously we don't want to gatekeep, right? Because gatekeeping for the sake of gatekeeping is evasive, and it just doesn't allow people a space that they may need, right? But that being said, do you ever feel that like you find yourself doing it a little bit just to protect the community, or is that like, how do you feel that balance is?
I'm not gonna lie, honestly, sometimes it does feel like, oh, like, is this the space for you?
Yeah.
But that's also that's when I have to also check myself, because that's not really my place.
Because everyone has it.
Because everyone has.
Trust me, I've gotten plenty of in green rooms. I've gotten into plenty of conversations with comedians who had different opinions than me. Right.
So sometimes it just I kind of just let things be because it's not my place. Sometimes it does honestly get kind of nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Hey, if there's one thing that shouldn't be racked, it's nerves, right?
Okay.
Right? I know that's.
And I only have limited ones, so once they're out, they're out.
In performance, in drag, right? There is that old stereotype of cross-dressing, right?
Mm.
What would you say the difference for somebody who may not be well informed? What is the difference between just drag and cross-dressing?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you the answer that I'm gonna stand behind. Let's say that.
Oh, you don't have to dance around it.
Oh
just say it.
no, this one I'm gonna be politically correct.
Put the boots down.
So I will say, being a drag entertainer is more along the lines of a profession.
Yes.
And cross dressing is I say for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
It's like you're going out, you're feeling your oats, but it's not. You're not doing anything besides like maybe like the sexual stuff. I don't know. Like maybe it's a kink or something. But
right.
That's where it gets divided with me.
Yeah.
Is because drag entertaining, that is when you are on stage, you are collecting your tips, you're popping your shit.
You're not being deceptive. You're not lying to anybody. Everybody knows.
And I just feel like sometimes the real good ones, you'll never know.
Oh, well, that's the point, right? It's
cross-dressing, but cross-dressing, it's just it's kind of messy. It's kind of
a little deceptive.
A little bit, in my opinion. In my opinion.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying that, like, for example, if I went out right now as a masculine presenting man wearing a skirt, that there's anything wrong with that, right?
By any means.
Gender expression and fashion do not have to be intertwined. I really would love if, like, in Walmart we got rid of the whole, like, here's the woman section, here's the man section. Because honestly, there's sometimes that I'm like, nah, that woman's shirt fits me and looks good on me. I don't care. I'm gonna wear it, right? So it's a whole thing where I feel like we don't need to gender everything in this country the way we do, right? But that being said, if you're going out in public and you're like not being honest about what you are to people, if you're being deceptive about it and you're calling it something it's not, right? Because there are a lot of people that I've heard about or have met that I won't name, who will go out in public, hi Kitty, who will go out in public and they will be cross-dressing, and they'll say, oh, I'm in drag. It's fun to go out in drag.
And that's when it hurts.
Yeah.
It's like the meaning of it.
Right, exactly. Where things get messy, things get lost in translation, where, especially if you're going, I'm gonna be real. If you're going out and you're fishing for people, and you're doing it with deceptive bait, like, don't do that to, one, that's giving everyone a bad name. Two, like, it's easier to be honest. Like, why are you creating drama? You know what I mean? It's like, sure, I understand to a point, we live in a time, in a society, where people are a little bit more careful now, for obvious reasons, right? Because our freedom of speech is not as strong as it used to be, right? That being said, it doesn't mean you need to go out there and be dishonest. Protect yourself, but don't lie and misrepresent us.
He's trying to say, don't be a lying ass bitch.
Yeah, right? And drag's not lying, because here's the thing: if somebody comes to a drag show, unless they're really stupid, I'm gonna be real, they know what drag is, right? They should understand that that's part of the game, right? But that being said, obviously, there are people who are stupid out there in the world. Would you, have you ever had any experience with people meeting you in drag who, like, didn't know? Like, has that ever been a thing where somebody didn't clock you?
As much as I would love to tell you that has never happened in life, I'm almost always clocked. It's so funny too, because like people will meet me as CJ, before they meet Freedia, and like sometimes it's real hit or miss. Like if they're just meeting me and they only see me like maybe once or twice out of drag, and they see me in drag, they're like, "Huh?
Yeah.
Okay, I can see it." But the people who have like known me my whole career at this point, it's kind of just like, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
you're you.
You're you.
Yeah, it's like for me, it's in a similar vein. It's like, you know, my mom's kind of over my comedy half the time. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, like she's still supportive of it half the time. But I feel like nowadays when I show her clips, it's less of, you're doing good, we love it, support it, and it's more of like, yeah, but why'd you do this thing? And it's like, shut up! You're not.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to get into the minutia of it. You're just supposed to like blind faith, right?
And honestly, I'm at the point where people are like, when I'm out of drag, people are still calling me Freedia,
Yeah.
and so it's like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like-
you know, on that note, right?
Mhm.
The crossover between CJ and Freedia, right? Do you think that it's sometimes easy or hard to get lost in that dichotomy? You know what I mean? Is it like, do you ever lose yourself in who you are because of playing a character, or do you think for you it's easy to separate, like, you know, your CJ from your Freedia?
I will say, as of like recently, it's been a little more difficult to like separate the two,
And hey, that's okay.
which it is kind of okay. It's okay for now.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah, I was gonna say, honestly, the difference between Freedia and CJ is the makeup and clothes. Honestly, there's not a whole lot of personality difference. It kind of just amplifies everything.
Yeah.
CJ is the more chill one of the two. However, CJ is just as crazy as Freedia is.
You know, on that note, because you know, mentioning it as well to just already get it going. The next guest on the podcast is actually going to be a friend of mine, Paris McQueen, who is a professional wrestler.
Ooh.
Yes, and
Exciting.
as somebody who grew up watching professional wrestling, one of those things that they always said about the best performers in wrestling was that it was their gimmick was themselves turned up to 11.
Oh, 100%.
And in that way, would you say that the same thing is true about you being, you know, turned on when you're in drag and everything? Like, that it's a lot easier once you get your face on and everything to just be there and have everything like ready.
Oh, definitely. Even like getting ready for this, like I didn't feel like Freedia until like, and this was crazy, the eyelashes came on, and I was like, oh, we're here.
Hell yeah.
Like didn't even have my hair together yet, because this is my hair.
Yeah.
But didn't even have my hair together or anything. As soon as those lashes came on, I was like, oh, yep, the diva's here.
I can totally relate, because like I've mentioned, I used to work at a haunted house, Haunted Hydro. Hi guys, I don't work there anymore, new management, but hi guys. And back when I used to work at the haunted house, the Haunted Hydro, I had a character that I would portray, a creepy Mr. Rogers, or like a creepy neighbor type kid show host type thing. And literally there on the set, that blue duck puppet you see there with the bloodstains and everything was a prop that I used, dressed as Mr. Rogers. And I remember it's like there would be a similar moment with me to where I would not feel like I was fully in character until I started drawing like the old age lines on my face. And I wasn't even really that good at old age makeup, right? But once I had like the weird wrinkles and stuff on my face, and I could just see all my exaggerated
You were
features.
there. You were on.
I was there. And, you know, obviously there's a little bit of vocal work there too, right? Because I would go, hi there, neighbor. And I would just, like, repeat phrases like that to myself in the mirror and be like, hi there, neighbor. Hi. I like you just the way you are, neighbor. Until I got fully into character. And, you know, it always came together because I remember making, like, men, because, you know, we had secret doors and stuff at the haunted house. Shh. But we would sneak around and stuff, and we would watch people go through the haunt and everything. And I remember watching, like, people who were, like, 40-year-old beer belly bros with long beards and everything. And they would, like, go through the haunt and be like, yep, okay, creepy child room. Okay, creepy this. Yep, sure, clowns. I've seen clowns. Mm-hmm. Right? And they come through and turns the corner, and Mr. Rogers is working the stripper pole. And they'll just be like, oh my God, it's Mr. Rogers. Right? And please don't sue me, Mr. Rogers' estate. I didn't call myself Mr. Rogers. Alright? My character's name was Ted Fathers. In fact, I'm working at reworking him into a character for a cartoon I'm making. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I never called myself Mr. Rogers, but, you know, you have the yellow sweater on. People call you what, you know.
If it looked like a duck and quack like a duck.
Yeah, they're going to say it's a duck, right? So that being said, moving on, talking less about myself in there, you know, we've already covered patrons, good stories with patrons, right? Have there ever been a moment when you're getting tips or anything like that that you would remember as fond, or as, like, has there ever been any, like, weird interactions with patrons? Has there ever been a moment where in drag just something stuck with you and went, I'm not gonna forget this, either for good or bad reasons? You know, you got any funny stories?
Nothing too crazy.
Damn,
honestly,
crazy.
I know. Honestly, I'm used to being in an environment to where people aren't gonna be, like, psychotic.
What's
Occasionally, it's a blessing and a curse. Sometimes you'll get, like, the patrons who will, like, put $1 bill in their mouth, and I mean that's
already a little much.
But it's not outlandish.
Right. It's not unheard of.
There's been times where, like, people have had $1 out for me, and I did, like, a little, you know, motion to them. Nothing super crazy. I love when people fold their dollars into little hearts. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to keep it in the shape you gave it to me.
Oh, origami!
Yeah, I love origami heart dollars. I love when you tip and something, like, stupid. Like, this one time, a lady tipped me like a rubber duck. And I was like, this is crazy. I would have preferred it to be $1, but do I still have the rubber duck? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yep. I would have kept the same thing.
So it's like little gifts like that. Like, if it means something, like, by all means, I'm not gonna knock a heartfelt, like, tip gift.
Right. But you're lucky enough to where nothing crazy, like, nobody's ever done. Like, one of the stories I've heard, one of the most outlandish stories I've ever heard while tipping, and I don't know who told me this, so forgive me for repeating a story that is not mine to share, but it's a comedy podcast, so I'm doing it. I once heard about a drag performer who got tipped, and the person then put it in their butt crack, like sticking out of their pants.
Miss me with it.
Yeah, it's like, you know, even putting it in their mouth, it's like, hey, maybe ask. Maybe ask if that's okay first, right? Or wait until I tell you to do it.
And honestly, because 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get the opportunity. So if somebody does something that I'm uncomfortable with, like I've had a lady put $1 in her tit, I'm not going to go in with my mouth. No. So I just... Thank you.
Because that's also, I feel, putting you in a weird situation where it's like, what do they expect you to do? Like, ham fist your whole hand down their bralette?
And sometimes, if you catch me on a good day, I'll do it. But I'm not one of those girls that are just like, whoa, give me your boobs. So
I mean, hey, you know, $100 is $100, right?
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say if that's like a $10 bill, a $20 bill, yeah, we can have some fun, baby.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want me to you want me to commit something that I could get sued for? I'm at least setting the price at 100.
I'm just saying, I know the crowds that I work for, and baby, they're not tipping me 50 and $100 bills.
No, we'll get there. We'll get
there.
Hopefully, right? God forbid people with money stop being stingy with your money. Just give us your money.
Everyone needs money. Share the wealth.
Share your wealth. Eat the rich, right? So we don't eat you. Okay, come on. So, moving on, right? The, obviously this is a part that I wrote in here. So, but we're getting to the topic of reading now, right? How important would you say reading is as a skill for a drag queen? Do you think it's like, because even on Drag Race, they have whole competitions about just reading. Would you say reading is equivalent to negging or more polite negging? Like, how would you think, and how do you develop that skill in general? Like, is it just being a bitch? Like, let's be honest. Is it just being a bitch, or is there a balance where you still have to be like, I can't go too far? Like, how does this skill work?
It's certainly a skill. There is a fine line between shade and reading.
Yes.
So I personally take shade as like the negative side to reading.
Right.
Whereas reading is it's an observation at the end of the day, and a good read is fun to be comedic.
Yeah.
So it's like a your mama joke, or it's just back in the day when we were cracking on each other,
or like any other crowd work
essentially
that a comedic performer would do.
But as long as the person knows that it's like it's a joke, like it's out of love,
it's all in good fun,
then that's reading. But the shade comes in is when it's just you don't give a fuck about anything or anyone's feelings, and it's kind of just like, I'm gonna say what I need to say, and if it hurts you,
would you say for being a drag queen that it's easier to not get the two confused than it is for somebody who, like, for example, who is not a drag performer, to get them confused? Because I've seen people who like drag go to drag shows and then not realize that like they were getting read. They go, why were they so mean, or whatever.
So I would say it does not make it any easier sometimes, because like for me personally, I have a tone issue, and I've known that for a long time. My tone generally is like this, and that does not translate well with like speaking with people, because it seems like I'm disinterested or this, that, and the third. Almost never the case.
Gotcha. I've been told I'm too much. I talk too much. Here I am, still talking too much.
But overall, it's hard sometimes, because like so many things get lost in translation, and
sometimes the reading can also hit home.
Yeah, and it's more of a, like, you just have to know who the other person is and who your audience is too, because let's say like we are reading a straight man, and the host of the show is like, so are you gay or straight? And he answers straight, and she's like, oh, I can tell by your Walmart sweater. Like, that is a read.
Good read.
But if she continues to go in, then that's when it stops being fun and starts going into the shade aspect of it.
Spread it around.
Yeah. Like, don't pick on anybody.
Don't alienate people, right?
Like, we can have our fun, but once you can tell usually when somebody's had their fill of fun.
Right. And now that being said, I have to, because, I can't have a drag queen on the show without presenting the opportunity, at full risk that I will have my feelings hurt. Miss Freedia Nipps, I would love the honor of being read by you.
That is so crazy. I would never do such a thing with somebody that I've known for so long.
She lying. She lying.
No.
Don't believe her
by
ass.
all means. No, I don't really have too many reads for you, honestly, because
come on.
we've always been like cool. So
Yeah.
like it's never been like.
I'm giving
however,
you so much right now, just even with the way that I look.
Oh,
Come on. I'm giving you so much. I look like I'm like Salvation Army. You know what I mean? But the actual army, right? Come on.
I will say, I mean, we did talk a little bit before the podcast, and I did ask you, were we still in the realm of sexuality and your bisexuality?
Yes, I am.
I find it very heartwarming and loving that you still identify as bi.
Oh.
And it would honestly make you think that you would have more options. But a quick walkthrough of this lovely abode leads me to believe that that is not the case.
I have a roommate, but he's just my bro. So he's like not my brother, but like he's like a dude that I hang out with. We play video games. So
and they say bisexuality opens doors.
Oh,
and
no. For
these ones are closed.
I'm gonna put this completely out here now because I know that I've mentioned the roommate. My roommate and me, dude, we wouldn't never. I'm not my type of dude. Also, he's aromantic and I'm not, and that's a weird little messy thing.
Yes.
Right. So it's like it would never work out. And for two, I don't want to date the people who are paying half of my rent. You know what I mean?
That seems like that'd be like a.
Yeah, like. It's like, what if we were to break up? Then it's like, do one of us have to move? But I'm still on the lease.
Yeah, you
for
lost
6
half
months.
your rent, buddy.
Yeah, no. So it's like, I haven't really dated anyone seriously since high school. I'll be open about that, and I would love to say half of that is choice. The other half is that I'm demisexual, which is, for one, what the fuck does that mean? Do I really like Demi Lovato? Yes, bitch, but also, it's for people who are uninformed, demisexuality is the whole thing of, I can't feel sexual attraction or romantic attraction or any type of attraction to a person unless if I feel comfortable with them on a human-to-human connection level first.
You get that.
So it's like, I've had people approach me at the bar and like give me a hug after my comedy show and be really flirty, and that's like, I'm not stupid most of the time. I'd like to say I'm lying, folks, but so I can still see signals or whatever, and it's rare that it happens because look at me, but it does happen sometimes, and it's always a little bit weird because it's like I always get the impression that everyone wants everything to be so quick with, it's like, do you like me right now?
Yes, it's kind of like the day and age, honestly.
Yeah, it's
everybody's in such a rush.
Yeah, like swipe left or right on me right now. Like, would you fuck me right now? Would you date me right now? Like, what's the whole deal right now?
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here like, can we be friends first?
Whoa.
Like, legitimately, this is how I like to put it with people. It's like, I would never fuck somebody I wouldn't be okay being friends with after fucking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe I'm just getting too much personality and tea out there right now. But
that's okay.
That's, it's like, I'm definitely never going to be the type of person who does the one-night stand thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, not saying I'm against it, you know what I mean? Like, if I meet the right person and we vibe and I can tell, like, oh, you're trustworthy, you're safe, you're whatever, I'm not against anything, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know you. And that's the real thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are people that I've known for years that if they were like, hey, would you wanna, I would be like, okay, well, you're attractive and all that, but we haven't hung out in like a year and a half.
Who are you?
Who are you now? You know what I mean? Because it's like, I don't know. To get off of my personal shit and segue back to, you being my guest on the show and everything, I have this here. Would you say that, like, drag in romance has been a little bit of a complication because there are people out there who, let's be real, they're queen fuckers, right? They're queen chasers. They love the drag queens, would love to fuck you in drag or whatever, or like they like the idea of dating a drag person, but they don't really care about who you are outside of drag. Would you say that relationships have been a little bit more messy or harder to find because of drag, or would you say that like it hasn't really impacted you personally?
It definitely helped me see some it in the aspect of like shedding light, let's say that. It's definitely helped shed light on some of my previous relationships. It also has been interesting since I started drag. There's been inquiries, you know, nothing ever too serious, and I don't think it has so much to do with like the drag aspect of it. I think it more so has to do with the fact that not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay.
I get no bitches either, so
and that's
fine.
Honestly okay. Like it is really weird because like people would think like, oh, like Freedia, like you, like the way I present myself is very looser than I would describe myself. So it's like it's almost a surprise when I'm just like, no, that didn't happen, or it's something along the lines of that. So I would say in a way it's been harder to like create those kinds of relationships just because I don't know who's being genuine or not, and that's been a tough thing to navigate.
Right, because
it's like everybody's intentions.
Right, because you never know who's like we've been talking about this whole time. Characters playing characters, right? Because there are a lot of people out there in the world who are even if they're not in drag, personality-wise, they're in drag. You know, it's cliche at this point, but wasn't it Trixie who said we're all born naked and then everything else is drag? Or was that? Am I accrediting that to the wrong queen?
That was RuPaul.
Was it? I'm so stupid. See, I'm a casual. I'm so sorry, guys. Oh no. Hold on. Let's take that back. We're gonna rewind the tape. Edit that. It was RuPaul who said you're born naked and then everything else is drag. See, guys, I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, right, and I think that's true, even for people who don't even know what drag is, right? Because in philosophy, there was this guy named Carl Jung who wrote about the idea of personas, right? That everyone wears a mask. There are three versions of yourself. There's the you that you see, the you that everybody else sees that you show them, and then there's the actual you that's underneath all of that, right? And we're all doing it. Whether it's with this, whether you're dressing up the mask that you're showing people, or whether or not you're trying to make it more subtle and sneaky, you know, right? There's a little bit of shade to everything, right? There's shades of gray in everything, right? So, definitely been wonderful to have you on here. And, you know, while we're still talking about outside of drag and what you do outside of drag, are there any hobbies that you have outside of drag, you know? Is there anything that you do to, like, unwind when you're not being Freedia Nipps?
Yeah, so I like to be creative and like no matter what aspect I'm like in. Yeah. So even outside of drag, I am still like thinking about like mixes, or I'm trying to pick up sewing so I can start, you know, tailoring some of my own outfits.
Hear that? I am a writer.
So I watch TV, I hang out with my roommates, we have animals, I smoke a lot of weed.
Love weed.
Everybody should smoke weed.
Well,
I think the world would be much more peaceful.
Everybody who can do it and be healthy to do it, right? Because I'll be honest with you, because I've been having my own struggles with marijuana lately. Mostly it costs a lot.
That is a true statement.
Right? And
it is a hefty habit.
I literally had to quit smoking weed for about 2 months to be able to afford everything you see here on this podcast set. You know, just like from the lights to the fucking cameras to everything else, right? So, you know, and I'll be honest with you, as a person who suffers from that's not a word. Who suffers from chronic, you know, physical disabilities and mental health struggles, right? It's definitely a boon for me and my mental health and everything, but there are people I know who are like the type of people who would miss their rent to go smoke a blunt.
And those people are crazy.
Yeah,
they're wild.
I think it's more of a systemic thing, you know what I mean? It's like, what made you be so addictive to, like, how bad is your life that this is the only dopamine you're getting?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, everyone just needs help, right? As we said at the start of the show, we always need help. People just need help, right? And there's nothing wrong with people needing help. But, you know, we've covered hobbies, we've covered, you know, drag, in and out of drag, personas, everything. I think we're pretty much getting close here to the end of our line of questions. Right.
No.
So at this point, we're off script, ladies and gentlemen. So, that being said, you know, it's been wonderful having you on. I absolutely love the work you've been doing. I love watching your clips online. You know, it is, and this is for you, for the camera, for everyone, but this is just, you know, something I wanted to get across. We spoke a little bit before the camera started rolling and everything. I have been trying to do more and more comedy. It's not easy when you're disabled and you don't own a car. And the only things you have in the area are the shows that are available. And there's less and less willingness to give people a platform to just say anything, because how is it going to reflect the venue, right? So this podcast is definitely my way of, like, taking control over that situation, over not having much of a platform, not being able to get out as much. Like, if I need to bitch, hey, I have a channel now. I can bitch, right? If I want to have people on and talk about the good in the world, like drag, like the community it can provide and creating and everything like that. If I can use it as an excuse to reconnect with people from high school that I haven't seen, right? Who are doing amazing and wonderful things, right?
Thank you.
Because this is the unfortunate truth of the system we're all in right now. It's a little hard to get people over to hang out unless if it's for work, right?
Yeah, no, and it for me it even gets harder because, like, all the people that I, like, tend to hang out with are the people I work with, so it's like
it's so hard to get schedules, right? Because I love Dungeons and Dragons, right? And as anybody who's ever played Dungeons and Dragons know, getting like 4 or 5 adult people to get their fucking schedules aligned
hardly ever happening.
It's not. You're lucky if you get to do a one campaign, and then it's like, oh, are we doing campaign 2? No, because somebody's work schedule changed, or this, that, or whatever, and now we don't have the healer, and we can't fight a dragon without a healer. You know, or God forbid, comedy shows are hard to put together too, because it's like, you know, hey, what's your schedule? I don't know. I'll let you know that day. Right?
Booking like, Queens, very similar.
Yeah, so it's definitely the type of thing that if I can do what I can, you know, I have this bedroom here that, you know, like I sleep in the living room a lot of the time anyway because I got a nice futon out there. It's pretty comfy. It's full of shit right now because I've got like empty boxes and whatever from all the podcast equipment on it. But regardless, you know, I moved my bed out to the living room and I figured I can use this space better, take control, and have some way I can like highlight people I care about, highlight what they're doing, the work they're doing, and at the same time entertain motherfuckers like I've been trying to, right? Because God forbid, worst case scenario, the more time we are sitting here creating and highlighting the good, the less people are thinking about who's in what office right now. Or thinking about, like, oh, am I gonna be allowed to do the things I am now in 6 months? You know? Like,
because we're all thinking about it, but we don't all have to think about it all the time.
No, exactly, right? And even now in this conversation, you know, we've brought it to the forefront when it's had to be brought, right? But at the same time, you know, we don't have to act like that's how it's always going to be. Because that's defeatist, right? And I'm not one to say the battle is lost when it's still being fought, right? And being a drag queen is a statement, right? You said that yourself. To you, what would you say is, like, the biggest part about being a drag queen now? You know, like, do you think that, like, it's even more of a statement now to put your foot down and say, I am going to be what I am?
I think so. Honestly, faced with the type of, like, situations that have been coming up recently with our socioeconomic climate, has really, like, lit a fire under my ass to just keep doing it.
Well, that's one thing about climates. They be changing, and they be lighting fires.
So, honestly, like, it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. It is scary because sometimes you can go out minding your own business and tragedy happens.
Life is scary.
Life is fucking scary.
They make life insurance for a reason. It's a scam, but they make it for a reason.
But you're not about to have me, like, in a corner cowering in fear just because, like, you don't agree with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's a happy, like, balancing act sometimes of, like, I feel strong in this, or, oh, like, let me go ahead and hurry up to this car real quick while I'm outside before something happens.
I've had hecklers once or twice, you know, say, even misinterpret what I'm saying, sometimes in a joke, or they didn't quite think I was saying what they agreed with on stage. And I've had a couple of hecklers in my time be like, yeah, we're going to kick your ass in the parking lot after this, how about that? And my response is always like, buddy, I'm a cripple. You beat my ass, what does that prove?
Crazy.
It's like, I can barely walk home, and you're gonna beat my ass? Like, congratulations, you're a big tough guy beating up cripples. Like, that proves my point, you asshole.
And, there hasn't been too many instances where people have tried it with me, but like I said, I am still a dude under here.
Yeah.
So I've never really had an issue with that. Like, the most like craziest thing that happened to me is I get catcalled out like on the street when I'm, like, outside of Hamburger Mary's.
Oh my god, I would love if you like.
It's so fun.
Oh,
it's so fun because people will drive by and, like, they'll slow down and, like, honk or, like, yell out of the window, and I'm just like, "What's up?"
So obviously, you know, you enjoy the attention, right?
Oh yeah, most times. There's a fine line with everything else.
As long as it's respectful, right?
Yeah.
As respectful attention is always enjoyed. But if a motherfucker's yelling from a car like, show us your tits, then it's like...
Oh, I mean...
well, don't do that, guys.
They might.
Hey.
Might get a little show.
Biological male here. Don't do that.
Hit me up on the corner of Huron and Adams.
Alright. Or do it to specifically Freedia, because, you know, Freedia Nipps, right? Anyway, but, you know, I find that funny because, like, as somebody who used to work in the haunted house, again, weirdly enough, you kind of always get a little bit of, like, people who just see you in makeup or see you doing a persona or whatever, and they're just, like, weirdly into it, right? I have had literal blood dripping out of my face, and then somebody's like, that's hot. That's the hottest thing I've ever seen. And I'm just like, you know, obviously you have to stay in character, right? But in my own head, I'm like,
Excuse me?
Like, no, I'm terrified. No, I'm supposed to terrify you, but now I'm terrified.
We just switch places.
Yeah, it's like, how'd you do that? I'm not allowed to say that. I'll get fired. Right? So, it's definitely a weird line to dance on, because obviously there is, in some regards to drag, sexuality built into it, But, from what I've seen, you definitely do respect that line, and you hold that line pretty well.
I try.
Working at the Hamburger Mary's, you kind of have to.
Yeah, also, I at the very utmost point of it, I have to watch out for them.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes my mouth, if anything, not so much performances, but just my mouth and my hot-headedness will get me in the most trouble more than anything else.
Well, hey, you let me know if anything that has been said on this podcast. I'll send you the link before it's like published.
Oh no, I feel good about whatever I said, and I stand on it. If I said something to piss you off, so.
That's right, guys. She's stepping on your fucking balls, guys. She's got heels, and she'll fucking kill you. Right? But, I guess wrapping things up, is there anywhere online that, if people have liked your performance, right, have liked your appearance today on the show, and have liked your vibe, want to come see you perform, where can they follow you at? So that way they can get in touch with you, get in touch with your shows, keep up to date on everything Freedia Nipps.
Yes. So, let's see, the big three. Facebook, you can find me at CJ Thomas. That is my evil twin. You can find me at the Nipps, TheeNipps on Instagram, and I believe TikTok is the Nipps 98, and those are all the socials that I care to share right now.
Awesome. I'll make sure if you send me those later, I'll put them in the link for the descriptions, all that, so that way, look below if you want to see more, follow more, everything like that. And, at the end of the day, thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
With Shawn Will.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me as your first guest.
Honestly,
it felt so good. It was so good to see you and catch up after all these years, honestly.
Hey, what better, like I said earlier, we have to, unfortunately now, it's easier to see people when you make it part of the business, right? And I've loved having you on, because it's been wonderful catching up. It's been wonderful hearing what you're doing, what you're working on, knowing that you're in a place where you're vibing, you're creating, you're becoming the version of you that you always could have been, right? And that's what we want for everyone, right? Self-actualization, right?
The world would be so much of a better place if we were all just allowed to be.
Exactly. And just be here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been the show. Thank you, Miss Freedia Nipps, for coming on. I've been Shawn Will. Be here next time.